ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भक्तसेवया भगवती उत्तमं श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, today we are starting new chapter, chapter 24, Matsya, the Lord's Fish Incarnation. Text number 1 onwards. Shri Raju Vacha, Bhagavad Shrotum Ichchami, Hared Adbhut Karmana, Avatar Katha Madhyam, Maya Matsya Vidambanam. Maharaj Parikshit said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is eternally situated in his transcendental position. Yet he descends to this material world and manifests himself in various incarnations. His first incarnation was that of a great fish, O most powerful Shukdev Goswami. I wish to hear from you the pastimes of that fish incarnation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is all-powerful, yet he accepted the form of an uncommon fish. This is one of the 10 original incarnations of the Lord. Although there are innumerable incarnations, but Matsya Avatar, wonderful avatar, pastime. So Maharaj Parikshit, after hearing the pastime of Vamandev, and before that, churning of the ocean, so many incarnations, before that Gajendra, Moksha, and incarnation over there, now he wants to know about Matsya Avatar. Yad artham adhad rupam matsyam lok jugupsitam tamah prakritir durmarsham karma grasta iveshvaraha etanno bhagwan sarvam yathavat bhaktum arhasi uttam shlok charitam sarva lok sukhavaham. What was the purpose for which the Supreme Personality of God had accepted the abominable form of a fish? Exactly as an ordinary living being accepts different forms under the laws of karma. The form of a fish is certainly condemned and full of terrible pain. Oh my Lord, what was the purpose for this incarnation? Kindly explain this to us, for hearing about the pastimes of the Lord is auspicious for everyone. Parikshit Maharaj's question to Shukdev Goswami was based on this principle stated by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, or descendant of Bharat and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. The Lord appears in each incarnation to save the world from irreligious principles and especially to protect his devotees. Vamandev, for example, appeared to save the devotee Bali Maharaj. It didn't sound like he was saving Bali Maharaj. He was saving Indra or Indra's position, but actually he came to save Bali Maharaj. Similarly, when the Supreme Personality of God had accepted the abominable form of a fish, he must have done so to favor some devotee. Parikshit Maharaj was eager to know about the devotee for whom the Supreme Lord accepted this form. So, abominable form of a fish, because fish lives underwater and completely in the mode of ignorance. But when the Supreme Lord accepts any form, it's not in that material mode. He is always transcendental. Even though he accepts the form of a boar, like Varahadev. But but Parikshit Maharaj is eager to know why. Because he wants everybody else to know what's this wonderful incarnation Matsya Avatar is, and what are his pastimes. Shri Suta Vacha. Now it goes to Naimisharanya. Iti yukto Vishnu ratena Bhagwan Badaraya Vacha Charitam Vishnur Matsya Rupena Yat Kritam. Sutta Goswami said, when Parikshit Maharaj inquired from Shukdev Goswami, that most powerful saintly person began describing the pastimes of the Lord's incarnation as a fish. Shri Shukuvacha, Go Vipra Asura Sadhunam Chandasam Api Cha Ishvara Rakshamichhans Tanuradatte Dharmasyarthasya Chavahi. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, O king, for the sake of protecting the cows, Brahmins, demigods, devotees, the Vedic literature, religious principles, and principles to fulfill the purpose of life, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts the forms of incarnations. The Supreme Personality of Godhead generally appears in various types of incarnations to give protection to the cows and Brahmins. The Lord is described as Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. In other words, he is always eager to benefit the cows and Brahmins. When Lord Krishna appeared, he purposefully became a cowherd boy and showed personally how to give protection to the cows and calves. Similarly, he showed respect to Sudama Vipra, a real Brahman. From the Lord's personal activities, human society should learn how to give protection specifically to the Brahmins and the cows. Then the protection of religious principles, fulfillment of the aim of life, and protection of Vedic knowledge can be achieved. Without protection of cows, Brahminical culture cannot be maintained. And without Brahminical culture, the aim of life cannot be fulfilled. The Lord is therefore described as Go Brahmana Hitaya because his incarnation is only for the protection of the cows and Brahmins. Unfortunately, because in Kali Yuga there is no protection of the cows and Brahminical culture, everything is in a precarious position. If human society wants to be exalted, the leaders of society must follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita and give protection to the cows, the Brahmins, and Brahminical culture. And that is how the human society will be exalted and protected. If we give protection to cows and the Brahmins and the Brahminical culture, Vedic culture, literature, Vedic religious principles, this is very important. It's not just we somehow got this human form of life and that's it. We just utilize or waste it in eating, drinking, sleeping, and mating only. That's it. No, human form of life is a very, very responsible species, very responsible form. And this is the only form where we get the reactions of our karmas. We can go up, we can remain in this position, or we can go down also. So very important, very responsible. So that is why most responsible, the highest responsibility is to protect the cows and the Brahmins. Otherwise, the person means the leaders are definitely doomed to go to hell, and the society also, if they don't protect these. Uchavacheshu bhuteshu charana vayuriveshvara nochavachatam bhajate nirgunatvadhiyo gunahe. Like the air passing through different types of atmosphere, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing sometimes as a human being and sometimes as a lower animal, is always transcendental because he is above the material modes of nature. He is unaffected by higher and lower forms. So these higher and lower forms or different species are for us, not for the Supreme Lord. He is always transcendent. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is a master of the material nature. Maya dhakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Therefore, being the supreme controller of the laws of nature, the Lord cannot be under their influence. An example given in this regard is that although the wind blows through many places, the air is not affected by the qualities of these places. Although the air sometimes carries the odor of a filthy place, the air has nothing to do with such a place. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being all good and all auspicious, is never affected by the material qualities that like an ordinary living entity. So he never is affected, never takes on any material qualities. When the living entity is in the material nature, he is affected by its qualities. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, is not affected. Disrespectfully, one who does not know this considers the Supreme Personality of Godhead an ordinary living being. Such a conclusion is reached by the unintelligent because they are unaware of the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So he is not an ordinary human being. If he comes as a Matsya avatar, doesn't mean all the fish is Krishna. Yes, they are part and parcel of Krishna. And whenever we see any fish, it should remind us of Matsya avatar so that we can think of the Lord, we can appreciate the pastimes that he performed as a fish, but he's not a fish. He appears as a fish to perform some pastime, and that's it. Then he winds up his pastime and goes back to Vaikuntha Loka in his four-handed form, just like the picture behind me. It's a fish incarnation, but the Lord is four-handed form. Lord is not a fish. Asid atit kalpante brahmo namitiko laya samudro lutas tatra loka bhura dayo nripa. O King Parikshit, at the end of the past millennium, at the end of Brahma's day, because Lord Brahma sleeps during the night, annihilation took place, and the three worlds were covered by the water of the ocean. So at every evening or end of Brahma's day, there is an annihilation, small, partial annihilation. Kalinagat nidrasya dhatu shishi shishya yeshyor bali mukto nihisritan vedan hayagrivo antikeha ahra. At the end of Brahma's day, when Brahma felt sleepy and desired to lie down, the Vedas were emanating from his mouth. And the great demon named Hayagriva stole the Vedic knowledge. So Vedas were coming out the mouth of Brahmaji. And when it says he stole the Vedic knowledge, Hayagriva. Earlier we read about Krishna assuming the form of a horse, also known as Hayagriva, and he killed these demons and he saved the Vedic knowledge. But here, fish killed the demon named Hayagriva. Gyatva tad danavendrasya Hayagrivasya cheshtitam dadhara shafri rupam Bhagwan Harir Ishvaraha. Understanding the acts of the great demon Hayagriva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari, who's full of all opulences, assumed the form of a fish and saved the Vedas by killing the demon. So the Lord is always going to appear in some way because Vedic knowledge is so important for our spiritual growth that he's going to save the Vedas. Because everything was inundated by water. To save the Vedas, it was necessary for the Lord to assume the form of a fish. Because there was inundation, there was dissolution, and Hayagriva had stolen the Vedas in the form of a horse. So the Lord appeared as a fish to kill him and save the Vedas. Tatra Rajarishi Kaschin Namna Satyavrato Mahan Narayan Paro Atapat Tapahasa Salilashana. During the Chakshusha Manvanta, there was a great king named Satyavrat, who was a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Satyavrat performed austerities by subsisting only on water. The Lord assumed one fish incarnation to save the Vedas at the beginning of the Swayambhuva Manvantar. And at the end of Chakshusha Manvantar, the Lord again assumed the form of a fish just to favor the great king named Satyavrat. As there were two incarnations of Varaha, there are also two incarnations of fish. The Lord appeared as one fish incarnation to save the Vedas by killing Hayagriva, and he assumed the other fish incarnation to show favor to King Satyavrat. So two fish incarnations took place. Of course, there are multiple incarnations as fish also, but in this context, so beginning of Swayambhuva Manvantar, that is the first Manu. So the Lord appears as fish to kill Hayagriva and save Vedas. Now at the end of Chakshusha Manvantar, I don't remember what's the number of Chakshusha, is it second, third, fourth? I don't remember. But at the end of Chakshusha Manvantar, the Lord again assumed, because that is when again, there is another point. Of course, in the shloka, it was said that during the end of the day of Lord Brahma, the inundation and this all happened. I have to check if Chakshusha Manu is the 14th Manu, because then towards the end of his time, that would be the end of the day of Brahmaji, and that is when Matsya Avatar came to have special pastime with King Satyavrat. Yosavasmin Mahakalpe Tanya Savivasvataha Shradadeviti Khyatu Manutve Harinarpitaha. In this, the present millennium, King Satyavrat later became the son of Vivasvan, the king of the sun planet, and was known as Shradadeva. By the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was given the post of Manu. So this present Manu is Vivasvan. Oh, I'm sorry, Vivasvat Manu. His son is Surya God, which is Vivasvan. And in this present millennium, or present Manvantar, King Satyavrat became the son of Vivasvan, the king of the sun planet, and was known as Shradadeva. So next, he will be the next Manu. So when King Satyavrat was as King Satyavrat, so that is when Matsya Avatar appeared at Chakshusha Manu's time. Ekda krit malayam kurvato jal tarpanam tasyanjali udke karchit fare kabhya padyata. One day while King Satyavrat was performing austerities by offering water on the river bank of the river Kritamala, a small fish appeared in the water in his palms. So he was doing his offering. Satyavrato Anjali Gatam Sahatoye na Bharata Ussasarja Nadi Toye Shafrim Dravideshwara. Satyavrat, the king of Dravid Desha, threw the fish into the water of the river along with the water in his palm. O King Pariksha, descendant of Bharat. So when he saw the fish, the little fish, I mean, how big a palm could be, so he threw the water back, thinking fish should be in the river, not in his palm. Tamahasati karunam mahakarunikam niripam yadobhyo gyati ghatibhyo dinam mam dinvatsala katham visrajase rajan bhitam asmin sarijjale. With an appealing voice, the poor small fish said to King Satyavrat, who was very merciful, "My dear king, protector of the poor, why are you throwing me in the water of the river, where there are other aquatics who can kill me? I'm very much afraid of them." So King Satyavrat, the little fish, he started speaking to King Satyavrat, "Why are you throwing me back? So many big aquatics are there who can kill me." King Satyavrat should have understood there's something extraordinary going on. And why is this little fish speaking to him? But anyway, in the Matsya Puran, so for every incarnation there is a Puran, it said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead possesses unlimited potency. Nonetheless, in his pastime in the form of a fish, he begged protection from King Satyavrat. Just like as Lord Vamandev, he begged for 3 paces of land from Maharaj Bali. He owns everything, but still for his pastime. So here is his pastime as a fish. He's begging protection from King Satyavrat. Tamatmano anugrihartham pritya matsya vapurdharam ajanan rakshanarthaya shafarya sa manodadhe. To please himself, King Satyavrat, not knowing that the fish was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, decided with great pleasure to give the fish protection. Here is an example of giving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even without knowledge. Such service is called Agyat Sukriti. King Satyavrat wanted to show his own mercy, not knowing that the fish was Lord Vishnu. By such unknowing devotion service, one is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Service rendered to the Supreme Lord, knowingly or unknowingly, never goes in vain. So King Satyavrat was there. He must be a great devotee. That's why Lord as Matsya Avatar came to him to give his mercy. So now King Satyavrat heard that the fish was saying, you should give me protection. Why are you throwing me back? So he decided to give the fish protection. Tasyam deenataram vakyam ashrutya samahipati kalashapsu nidhayena dyalur ninya ashramam. The merciful king, being moved by the pitiable words of the fish, placed the fish in a water jug and brought him to his own residence. So water jug or a water pot, we can say. Satu tatraik ratrena vardhamana kamandalo alabdhava atma vakasham sabha idam aha mahipati. But in one night that the fish grew so much that he could not move his body comfortably in the water of the pot. He then spoke to the king as follows. So in one night only he grew big, so he could not even move around properly, comfortably in the water pot. Naham kamandalavasmin krichram vastum ihotsahe kalpayokam yakalpayoka su vipulum yatraham nivase sukam. Oh, my dear king, I do not like living in this water pot with such great difficulty. Therefore, please find some better reservoir of water where I can live comfortably. See, the Lord just does his pastimes. They're very sweet and wonderful. So in one night, the fish grew big. First, the fish was in the palms of the king. Now he says, even the water pot is too small. Sainam tatadaya nirdhadu the anjanodake tatra kshipta muhurtena hastatrayam avardata. Then taking the fish out of the water pot, the king threw him in a large well. But within a moment, the fish developed to the length of 3 cubits. Hastatrayam. So I don't know how the size of cubits is measured, but 3 cubits, he became that big within a moment. Nama etadalam rajan sukham vastum mudanjanam prithu dehi padam mayam yatvaham sharanam gata. The fish then said, oh my dear king, this reservoir water is not fit for my happy residence. Please give me a more extensive pool of water, for I have taken shelter of you. So this is how the Lord tests his devotees. Now can you imagine? First he was saying, I'm a little fish. These aquatics in the river, they'll kill me. Please give me shelter. Now king is giving him shelter and he is becoming bigger and bigger. Tat adaya saragya kshiptva rajan sarovare tada vrityatmana soyam mahamino anvavardata. O Maharaj Parikshit, the king took the fish from the well and threw him in a lake. But the fish then assumed a gigantic form exceeding the extent of the water. Now even the lake was smaller for the fish. Netanme sustera jannudakam salilokasaha idehi raksha yogena hade mama vidasini. The fish then said, "O king, I am a large aquatic, and this water is not suitable for me. Now kindly find some way to save me. It would be better to put me in the water of a lake that will never reduce." So this is definitely plenty of testing going on, but the king hasn't understood it yet. What is the Lord up to? So he just performs his pastimes to bewilder the atheist and to give mercy to the devotees. And because the king is not going to give up, he'll try to serve the Lord in a different way. So anyway, we'll stop here and we'll carry on with more wonderful pastimes of Matsya Avatar tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, is it the second time he become a spirit, this avatar? When he killed Hygriv, this is the second time this story which is right now we are talking about. Is it second time he took a fish avatar?
Yeah. He killed Hygriv in the beginning, in the Swayambhuva Manu's time. And now this is second fish incarnation. He is having his pastime with Maharaj Satyavrat.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.